All right, I know a lot of Blues fans out there want us to unpack what went wrong and what happened. And there are a lot of stats that are in the worst territory, Kingy, that we need to address and have a look at. Points scored from turnover, their worst return on record.
Yeah, and we're drilling down to the second half because this is the issue at Carlton. It's been an issue for...
They can't hide now, can they?
No, they can't.
4 weeks in a row and it's getting worse.
Yeah, and I guess the answer is the hardest part to find. Is it the fact that they can't run? Is it the fact that they won't run? Is it attitude or actual physical capabilities? Is it all in? Are they actually as united as we think they are? Do they work for each other like you expect them to? Do they first give? I don't think they've got the skill level behind the ball that's competition average. I just think that what they lack in toughness with their skill players, they don't make up for in skill. And what they lack in skill with their tough players is left to too few. I mean, Paddy Cripps has an off night. He has one clearance for the night. And who picks up the slack? Who really steps up? No one.
It is a hard one to try and figure out because it does feel like it's a little bit of everything. I don't think it's as simple as there's one thing that you can fix because you're right, the skill execution, and then it gets a bit worse as they get tired. Their ability to compete and really sort of dig in their second halves have now become an issue. As I said, it feels like they haven't been as unconditional as some other teams with just the winning contests and their desire to run and work for one another. So it's going to be an interesting time for Carlton and Michael Voss to figure out how they can turn around because I think it's a myriad of issues.
So the issues they were having in the back half of last year, have they carried over, Jace, or is it a whole new set of problems, you think?
No, well, we've seen it from them before. My concern is once your confidence is down, as theirs really is now, you become a little bit insular as a player. So in that second half, when you need players to do unrewarded running, and by that run off your opponent, take off, and you mightn't get used, but it might open up a space for someone else to get used. The more movement you have, the more options there are for the guy with the ball. And Kingy's right. They don't have enough players that can take that kick on and actually hit it. But if you're not giving them enough options, you're never going to pull that kick in the second half. And I think they all start to go, things aren't going well. I better make sure my man doesn't get it. And you stay at home. And then all of a sudden the bloke's got the ball at half back and there's no movement. It's just static. So you end up kicking along to a contest. You give the opposition what they want and then back it comes. So, and Joey made a really good point. It's not one thing. You can't just sit there and say, we're not doing this, so we do this and everything will be okay. It's a little bit of everything rolled into one, and the overall package is really lacking, unfortunately.
Are they too tall? Like
I had concerns going into tonight,
yeah,
absolutely.
They run out of run, but it's almost like, well, what do you expect?
Yeah.
You got 3 tools for the ball, 3 tools behind the ball. You can't ask any more of your ruckman. He's running himself into the ground. I just wonder whether they're better off going back to that hybrid type and not relying on the contested mark forward of the ball nor behind them. Be prepared to leak a few goals, being beaten in contested mark situations to create some run, even if it is just artificial run, because that is damning.
It's extraordinary, really. It's quite stark when you see it there, Joey.
Your turn, Joey.
Well,
unpack that.
And I even think, even some of when you talk about their backs, I mean, I think guys, from my understanding, guys like Sard and McGovern aren't necessarily that they have the biggest tanks. So maybe they're the ones that have to provide the run because it's not Haynes and Wiedering and Silvani that are meant to do it. So whether it is the guys that are the guys that are meant to run and gun, they just can't carry it out in second halves either because of where they're at with their conditioning. So Zach Williams a bit the same. He's not, he's a powerful athlete and when he's at his very best, he's explosive, but I don't think he's a natural endurance runner. So maybe there's some of the players in the second halves that don't give them the firepower they need. And once that stops, their small forwards are a bit the same. Motlop's still got to work on his tank. That's been a bit of an issue. I heard he'd taken a big leap this pre-season, but he still looks like he's got a long way to go. So when you have 4 or 5, that's well and truly enough at AFL level to get exposed.
Kingy, it is a long year. There are still plenty of games left. Can they rescue this season and make finals?
They're going to have to jump a lot of teams now. That's the problem. I mean, 0-4, it doesn't get much worse, does it? So, look, they're 0-4 without real belief in what they're doing now. I mean, you would have to question, is it the system? Is it all the things we've spoken about? Is it our skill execution? Are we tough enough? Have we got the right plan? What's the direction? Everyone in their own time will be thinking, are we on the right track here? Are we really able to compete with the better teams? Because it was a 17-point margin that should have been 40. And I look at the list and Now, I can nearly tell you what Adam Chair is going to have every week. I can nearly say it's going to be a nice 23-possession game, and it won't do anything more than... It won't separate the game, but it won't cost you the game either. It'll be nice. I can tell you what a Zach Williams is going to do. Cooper Lord was a good find tonight. I think that they've got to progress with that. But Sam Walsh is not having the damage that he used to have.
No, and I like what I saw from the first game. Will White did some really good things. Mightn't be the most polished kick we've seen, but he certainly tried hard. But you're right, they're lacking a little bit of quality, and it's not like they're trying to bank some wins while waiting for a raft of players to come back. We know Harry Mackay, we'd love to see him back in action, but that doesn't automatically fix everything. Cottrell's a handy player, good to get him back in, but we know Newman's gone, so he's not going to be back.
Elijah Hollands maybe, but yeah, you're
decent,
right.
but not someone that's going to turn the tide, if you know what I mean. So they got a lot of problems.
And then I think they've got to have a difficult conversation with Doherty. And as harsh as that sounds, it's been a couple of times now at the start of this season, and sometimes your thirst for contact and the contest is not there. It wanes. And this was a significant moment. First centre bounce of the second half, they're in the game. They're playing some pretty good footy. Dacos breaks, and all of a sudden you think, oh, where's this going? And there's a chance to put your body on the line there and make contact, and they just choose not to do it.
Yep.
So in the end, you can point everywhere. It just doesn't mean enough to Carlton at the moment. It's not the nth degree. It's nice, but it's not absolute.